Before we start, I'm gonna give away 2 Cold War Skarlet skins on my Discord server live on Twitch next week. If you want to take part in the giveaway, you just have to join the Discord server and be in the stream at the moment in time on Twitch. A link is in the description.
Oh shit.
Peace family, my name is Mako and here is my guide for Skarlet. I hope you enjoyed the video. Alright, so let us talk quickly about her variations and what I mainly use, and some alternatives as well. So I mainly use direct dance, boiling point, and TP. This is the variation which you can use for literally any matchup in the game. It's like the safest variation to go for when you don't know who the opponent's gonna play, right? So basically almost perfect for every matchup. It's just the safest all around. Like, you can't go wrong with this one. It's like all her best tools combined together, but like not specifically for a certain matchup. This is just all around very solid. So if they have a fast enough up to like melee, you cannot parry it, right? Because 9 frames, any 9 frames or faster, Skarlet can't parry anymore. You gotta be mindful of that, otherwise you're gonna eat damage, right? So let us take a look at this variation. It has Red Rain instead of parry. I don't have parry anymore because in certain matchups like Kitana or Saturn for example, having Red Rain and the benefit of a buff, because look, I'm standing in it, I do more chip damage and more damage overall. It is pretty significant since it's about 20%, which is a lot, especially for like matchups where there is no point in having parry. So just, you know, wasting a slot basically. You're better off just having Red Rain, doing more damage, and them doing actually less damage if they're standing in it. Alright, so I do 15 there, right? Usually this does 20. Might down to it 10% instead of 14. You see? That's like a lot. Look at this damage. It's like 350 unbreakable, and if I go for this combo, right, in Red Rain, this does so much, it's actually kind of crazy. It does almost 500, usually it does 390, so it's like a 10% damage increase. So it's like a huge increase, right? And let me show you again how it is if the opponent's in the Red Rain. That's why I think it's really strong in the corner, especially because like you take less risk, or you're able to take more risk actually, basically based on the risk reward scenario, since if you hit them they're gonna die. If they hit you, you'll survive because they do less damage. Also you can set up Red Rain after any boiling point, right? Because boiling point is plus 60, 62, and this one has, well, it has some recovery. But yeah, it's basically like your plus after that. You can do setups like that, like for example do a combo into boiling point and then Red Rain, and you're like, you know, you're plus, like you're good, right? So let us assume I will do like a forward for free into boiling point because I got a shimmy, right? Then I can set up Red Rain, I can do a Meaties, and it's gonna hurt. Like, look at their life. That was 2 hits, and if you have grab KB, bro, GG. Game over, shake my hand, motherfucker. Yeah. So it is really strong. Just have to like know how to use it. And it's also like really strong in certain matchups, like I said, where it's more zoning heavy, or really trying to zone, right? Because no one's gonna out damage you full screen if you have that. No one. Literally no character. So yeah, it's very strong. Another very good ability that's sadly blocked behind 2 slots is slow blood ball and fast blood ball, but yeah, it should be separate in my opinion. They should make slow blood ball and fast blood ball like 2 separate abilities. That wouldn't like, you know, force us to take both and basically never use this one besides zoning. Because this one is very, very strong. Like, just the presence of it is super obnoxious for the opponent. And combos into like tentacle if it's like, you know, full screen. But the reason it got like worse, in my opinion, after the ultimate patch is since the wake up system got changed a little bit, meaning that you wake up faster than you did before. So there was a setup before, right? You did 2 and 2 standing 4 slow blood ball. It was like perfect. But now if they delay wake up, it's too fast. There's basically no difference anymore between the slow one and the regular one, simply because the wake up changed. It both cover literally the same options, but since the slow one is so slow now and they're up so fast, they can like duck it way easier than the regular version of it. That's why I would say the regular version is really better for setups after that. So yeah, but it's still very, very strong after 4-2. It does have a lot of mind games, but Sonic Fox made a video about it like over a year ago, so you can check this out. I won't talk too much about this move, even though it's good. I don't know. Obviously you can use any move for Skarlet, any combinations of moves, whatever fits you. She's a very creative character to begin with. Like, she is designed for you to play her like you want to play her. There's like no optimal way besides, you know, spacing right, having correct spacing, doing optimal combos, you know, having good defense, good movement. That's like, you know, all that is important. Like, she has very good movement actually. Let's talk about that. She has one of the best walk speeds in the game. Like, it's kind of crazy how fast she walks. Like, look at the schmovin'. Her backdash is also really, really good. Like, her wave dash backwards is really strong. Doesn't have a good forward wave dash, but her backwards block dash is really strong. That's why like her optimal like movement pattern is you backdash and block, right? And you move forward. You don't dash forward. You can dash forward for like a button, but in neutral you don't do that because it's just, yeah, not smart. I mean, it's, you know, you should always like mix it up, but like what you usually do is just backdash, block, walk forward, like, you know, cancel that. So you can cover a lot of options, a lot of space in just a very short amount of time. So yeah, that's basically her movement. It's actually very underrated, I think. She doesn't really depend on, you know, wave dashing forward. That's not what she does. She wants to like bait you to press or hit you at the sweet spot, you know, and that's what the dash is good for. It's like, it covers a lot of range and it's a good cancel to a button, right? So it's perfect for her, basically. Alright, so let's talk about Skarlet as a character herself and how I think she is designed. She is a very creative character and she can be played in almost any way you want to play her. She can be rushed down with like very good staggers, you know, good frame data, besides mids, but who needs mids when you have back 2? The certified unblockable move, or hard to blockable. Yeah, she has great pressure tools like plus frames, good staggers that, you know, lead into mind games where either you're gonna go in, gonna backdash, and they have to guess, right? Because at a certain range they just have to guess what you're gonna do. So as Skarlet, you always wanna have like your sweet spot distance where you can like dash out be out of their range. Or you can dash in, go for a grab, or dash in, go for a shimmy, which does 28% unbreakable damage, which is just, yeah, she needs it. So yeah, you're always trying to be at this range basically, you know, at like the max range of standing 2, because that gives you like a +1 button where now they have to guess. You're gonna go in, down 3, gonna backdash, tentacle, backdash sweep, gonna jump in. Like we said before, she is a very creative character and you can play her in any way you want to really, but like basically her game plan is to just chip you out with certain like moves, you know, just poke you down and like bait you to press buttons, because like I said before, her like stagger mind games are she's gonna backdash or go in, like because all her staggers are basically like 0 or -1 a block, so like you gotta guess. But like a lot of her staggers are also like high, so you can like basically poke out of her, but you need a good poke for that. So if they have a long range poke, she might struggle to like, you know, apply her pressure unless you jail them, obviously. Then they gotta hold it and then you like get your offense started, right? So she tries to make their opponents think that it's their turn to press, right? They think, oh, a stagger is coming, let me press on the stagger, right? But then she's gonna backdash into like, you know, we've punished them into 3 boiling point or something like that. So yeah, she's a very methodical character that requires you to basically think about what you're gonna do, right? Because if you don't really think about it, then they're just gonna call you out. Like if you're an autopilot, right, they're gonna catch you slipping. So you gotta be like always on guard. You gotta like adapt to their playstyle, because you cannot just do 1-2 backdash all the time, or 1-2 grab, or 1-2 4 if they flawless block it, right? So you have to adapt to that. You gotta like figure the opponent out. If they're flawless blocking you 1-4 or not. If they're always looking for it, then you can go for grabs. If they're not flawless blocking it, then they're gonna react to your staggers more. So they're gonna, you know, poke you or do a mid. So you can't often backdash out of that unless you're like max range. So yeah, because of her great mid-screen like spacing options, she has to sacrifice something, right? She doesn't have like great reversal options. She has a 13 frame mid and a lot of pokes are 7 frame and -6, so it would always trade or be in their favor basically. And if a poke is -5, like Kung Lao is down 3, then yeah, you cannot go for a forward 4, it won't work, because 7 frames and -5, that's 12. So it's just, yeah, you can't do that. So you have to like counter poke with down 3. So yeah, like I said, the game plan is pretty simple. You're just trying to get them in a corner basically, and avoid taking damage on the way to that, and trying to keep them out as long as you can, right? It depends on the matchup a lot, but basically you're always happy if they're in the corner, because that's where they're strongest on the pressure side of things. All your plus frames become so much stronger and actually real, because mid-screen 4-4 can be backdashed from almost any character. And in the corner they just cannot backdash, they have to hold it. They literally have to hold everything. They have to hold the -3, back forward 3, and they cannot duck that. So after that you have like options, right? You can like go in for a poke for a down 3 if you don't have a fast mid or something. Or you can just back that into whiff punish them, right? Or even launch them. If you press a button, you can just launch them like a full combo punish. So she becomes really, really scary in the corner, because, you know, she gets grab loops. So that's like the gist of it. You're trying to always go into 4-4 somehow, and force them into a scenario that you are comfortable with and they're not, so you force them to make a mistake eventually, because if they don't do anything, they're gonna get chipped out, right? Or they have to fear the back too sometimes, they fear the grab. It's like little things that you gotta look out for at this range, right? Because it's, if they challenged you, they're risking to getting like whiff punished from a 2-on-2 after a backdash from like a standing 2, right? Or a backdash back 3-4. They would launch them for a 30% combo. Yeah. Also like forward 4 become strong in the corner, because even if they block it and they're trying to flawless block the second hit, right? And they're gonna get hit by this, and basically this then, you know, gives you a combo launcher as well. Or get a restand. You know, I wouldn't recommend you doing this, but sometimes it's gonna be strong, especially because, you know, if you walk them down, they might get shimmied anyway, so you like mitigate that. But yeah, it's a risk, it's a very high risk, which basically you don't want to take many risks with Skarlet, but sometimes to open up somebody you have to take the risk, right? Otherwise you won't open them up, so you gotta evaluate and read their defense well. That's basically it. You gotta read the defense well, and yeah, you gotta just play around their defense and structure your offense around that, and stay unpredictable. Like, don't always go for the same things, because eventually they will pick up to that and they will find counterplay. So try to like keep it up and keep it fresh, so you know, they basically keep them on their toes, so they're not sure what awaits them. Let us talk about her jump in. So jump 1 has a very long range, right? It is her button if she tries to catch somebody, or if she's like barely at the range, like here for example. She like jumps in, right? And she can, you know, get a combo of that. Our jump 2 has a very downwards hitbox. So do that when you're like closer to them, right? Not here. Here you would use like jump 1, you know, to catch them at like the brink, like at their head. You see that, like literally at the max range. But you cannot do this with jump 2, it's gonna whiff, you see? So you gotta like be closer to use your jump 2. But jump 2 is really good for trying to bait anti-airs, because sometimes it's like a Sub-Zero jump 1 and jumping kind of, but it's like worse because it can be very easily anti-aired with like a down button, like a down poke. But yeah, it's still a decent jump in, I would say. It jails into, let me show you, it jails into standing 2, which is 0 on black. It jails into every button you have basically. It jails to 4-4, which, you know, gives you plus frames. It jails into literally everything you have basically. Even back 2. Like, they cannot interrupt that. That is pretty strong. And obviously jump 4. It is a decent jump kick, but it's like not busted in the way that you cannot anti-air it. Like, if they have a good poke anti-air, they are gonna anti-air it almost every single time. Like, it's not easy, not, you know, not easy to really like crash the anti-air with that jump kick. It's not like a Shang jump kick where it doesn't even matter. Where you're like, you have 0 chance of anti-airing. This one you can actually anti-air all her jumpins pretty easily. That's why jumping is often a risk for her, but yeah. The fact that she gets a 4-4 jail of it is pretty huge, especially in the corner. Because a 4-4 is kind of not real mid-screen. They can backdash a 4-4 actually. So, but the thing is, you gotta block it high for it to, you know, for it to work. So let me show you that you can actually backdash her plus frames mid-screen. So after like a standing 4-4, going for 4-4 is kind of risky, because like any character can just backdash that if they block it high, right? And then they can like whiff punish you for that. And yeah. So always gotta be careful about that, since they can always like just backdash into a full combo with punish, you know. But there's where the mind game comes in, because you can 4-4 into another dash, right? Wait, let me show you. You can 4-4 into forward dash, back 3. And it's gonna catch them, right? But then there's another layer of the mind game where they're gonna press on your plus frames, which is not very unlikely to happen in Mortal Kombat 11. So I would oftentimes go for a down 3 after our plus frames again, if they try to like press, you know. So because they can't press out of that. There is no way they're gonna press out of that. There's no way you can't jump out of it either. Like. So yeah, you gotta be like mindful about your 4-4. You cannot just be very mindlessly and just do 4-4, forward 4, forward 4-3, you know. It doesn't really work at high level. Because even this exists, right? So you have to like consider them flawless blocking anything, you know, even this. Or, you know, this. You have to like consider that, because people are gonna do that on high level. So you gotta like be careful about it, you know. You could like delay your forward 4, you could like grab maybe, you know, you gotta like just adjust your offense on their defense, basically. So it is time to discuss anti-airs. She is actually pretty good anti-airs, like probably better than, you know, majority. She has a good standing one. It has a good forward range, not the best upward range, but it leads to a lot of damage at least, right? If you get it, you can get a 2-on-2 into 4-4 boiling point, and it gives like 32%, so it's pretty good. Also, her down 1 is super strong, so you should like use it a lot. It always depends on the range or like the opponent's jumping buttons, but yeah, down 1 and standing 1 basically have like the same properties. You can use them both in the same scenarios basically, right? But standing 2 is something you use when they're like close to you or like upward, you know. You can use forward 2 into restand. You can use literally any button in the game. You can use standing 3, you can use standing 4 to anti-air. You know, you can do a lot. You can use down 3. You can use down 4. Can you? You can't. Wait. You can use down 4 first try. You know, but I would stick to down 1 on, you know, standing 1. I think those are the best ones. Besides, obviously, the universal anti-air down 2. Actually, I think down 2 is probably the best anti-air in the game. Probably from any character, because it's like so solid. It has a actually very good hitbox. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's the one that should go for the most if you like if you're ready for the jumping, right? This is like more reactionary, but I guess down 2 is like if you're ready for it, then you go for it, right? I think it's the most consistent one, because sometimes you're not gonna anti-air them every time. We all know this game is with anti-airs, and down 2 is just from my experience from 2.5 years playing this character in this game. Down 2 is just the most consistent anti-air. I don't know. I just like going for down 2 anti-airs nowadays. I don't have to worry about, you know, getting clipped for that. And I can just down 2 and even sometimes get a combo like that. But yeah, it always depends on the range mostly, I guess. But she has very good anti-airs, like I said. Just stick to those anti-airs. Stick to standing 1. Stick to down 1. Sometimes down 3 is better, but almost never. It has to be like a super long range, like that, or it's like almost out of range, you know, literally anything is out of range. But she has also very good trip guard. Because of her movement, she can easily trip guard people. Like, they gotta like be, you know, fast with it. Even this is It says counter, it is a punish. So just walk back, right? You can like trip guard them into a 2-on-2 combo, which just hurts a lot. So you have like a lot of options. Even if they're in the air, you can like air to air them, right? You can like air to air them into a combo. But yeah, down 2 is your safest option. And this game especially, because anti-airs are pretty much unpredictable sometimes. You have to like learn to hold jump ins, right? Especially against Sub-Zero and like Nightwolf, Kitana, like those 3 characters. Or like any other character that has a broken jump kick like Shang or Term. Sometimes you just have to block it, and you gotta accept the fact that you gotta block it. Let us talk very shortly about our zoning game. It consists basically of air throw projectiles, back forward 2, down back 2, down back 3, tentacle, and with custom variations also boiling point, which is very scary because if you get clipped by that you lose 18%, which hurts a lot, especially if you get clipped by that twice in a row, because yeah, it can be a meaty, so you gotta be careful about it. Alright, and I wouldn't use tentacle too much mid-screen because they can just jump it and you're gonna get full screen punish for that, so I would be careful in this range. In this range I would never use tentacle. I mean, I would use it, but there is a chance that they're gonna jump at you, right? So you gotta like be mindful about that, so just be ready for down 2, down 1, standing 1 anti-air, or even standing 4, or standing 2. Just be ready for that, right? To anti-air them at this range. All our projectiles are very plus full screen, or like close to full screen, besides tentacle. Tentacle is always like -4 to -6. Catch them off guard, trying to like set up some frame traps like that. Like the longer the sequence goes, the more likely they are to get hit by boiling point after a specific projectile. Like, you know, they're gonna lose their patience eventually, right? So, because they always like trying to not approach because they're afraid of a boiling point, right? But if they get hit by so many blood balls, blood trails, that they're trying to like dash forward, they're gonna get, you know, clipped by this move, and they're gonna eat like a lot of damage. So that's like basically a full screen game, you know, trying to bait them not to block low, so you can cash out with boiling point. And yeah, there aren't many characters that can outzone her. I would say Saturn is one of them, but I would say Saturn outzones her at this range. Like when she can jump up and like react if you're gonna do something or not, and just beam you out, right? She just spams beam. And yeah, other than that, like maybe Robocop, but yeah, I'm not sure. Because she has the threat of teleport, right? And it's very fast. It's very punishable as well, but it is a fast teleport, so it's gonna punish like a lot of moves, like Liu Kang's amplified fireball. Almost any projectile in the game it's amplified, like Kano's knife toss can be punished when it's amplified with a teleport, or Kitana's fan toss. Literally any move that's amplified can be punished with that. So let me show you an OS for her 2-on-2 string, right? Because there is an OS actually where you almost never gonna drop it. So the OS is basically you could do 2-on-2, 2-1-2, 4 into 4 for boiling point. It might sound confusing, but it's really not. You just do 2-on-2 and do the regular 2-on-2, but press the 4 afterwards, so it just covers you both strings. So you, even if you like don't get a second 2-on-2, at least you get the 1-2-4 boiling point, which gives you, you know, a decent amount of damage. Another tip I can give you is, after the first 2-on-2, you see how her blood scythe disappears, right? That's the moment you press the next 2-on-2. I don't really use TOS because, yeah, I don't know. I should probably use it, but sometimes I just trust myself that I will not drop it.
And the rest, my combo just dropped.
But if you see that they're too low to the ground and your boiling point would whiff, like here, for example, alright, it's gonna whiff because they're too low to the ground. So you have to like do something about it. You can like TP and you're +5 then. So it means you get a guaranteed grab. Not guaranteed, but like, you know, a meaty grab or a meaty forward 4 or anything, right? You also, it depends on the range. Sometimes you're like +8, +6, +7. But if they're really, really low, you're gonna be like +5. But you're still gonna get a grab if they, you know, press a button or poke. And you can also do a blood bowl if you think it's gonna drop. You can do a blood bowl to like, you know, keep them zoned out. But if you got grab KB, for example, sometimes it's a good reset to go for that. You know, and then you just do over 50%, like 55. But yeah, you can also like re-stun them from that, but it's not really worth it. You get like 22% of the chip damage from 4-4. Like, yeah, I would never go for the re-stun, especially because it's so easy to drop it. Don't go for that. It's just something that looks cool, I guess. If you wanna never drop this combo again, look at, you know, look at her when she puts the scythe back, like when it disappears, that's the moment you can press again. It shouldn't be that difficult when you get a little, you know, when you put the practice in, it shouldn't be difficult. And basically we'll make it so we'll quote unquote never drop it. Obviously there's always a possibility of dropping the combo, but it almost like fireproofs it, right? Almost. So let me show you some guaranteed fatal blow combos in the corner. Because on back 3-4, you get a guaranteed fatal blow. Like, they cannot break that. If you're gonna try and break that, they're gonna die for that. Like, watch, put it on fast. They cannot break that. And it's gonna deal like the same amount of damage if they break on that. Probably a little less if they break, I could imagine, because she has a very weird scaling when it comes to like fatal blow. Because usually it does like, you know, so even if you like do this, it's guaranteed. So you can like bait their breakaway in a sense. So you do 1-4 into backward 3. And if they break afterwards, you're gonna still catch a breakaway. So you can like, you know, play some mind games. The damage is not gonna be that different. You just waste the bar of meter for that basically. But you know, it at least like gives a mind game. And if they're like close to dying but they wouldn't die from the fatal blow, and getting them rid of the defensive meter is very, very, you know, beneficial for you, then I would go for that, yeah. But like, it's very, very situational. But it's always like good to know that you have guaranteed fatal blow options, right? If you like shimmy them here, for example, you can fatal blow. Confirm from forward for free, obviously. The most iconic fatal blow combo in the game. It does 46% or 45, depends. And that's basically it. You can always like guarantee a fatal blow from this one, right? When it comes to regular chrono combos, she has a lot of very good damage. Like, her damage output gets really, very, very, very strong in the corner compared to what she gets mid-screen out of most of her stuff. So for my back 3-4, I would go for a standing 1 into back forward if amplified into forward for a boiling point, simply because it's the easier. Why did he up to me, motherfucker? What the fuck is wrong with him? Random attack, fuck. Alright, so yeah, after a 2 and 2, I would probably go for a standing 4 into backward if amplified into 4-4 boiling point. simply because it's like the biggest damage, but it's not really worth it on paper since it's only like 1% more damage if you spend one bar on it. But since in the corner, it's really easy to like, let me show you, right? You do it too fast, so your second like 2-1 move, so you have to like delay it a little bit. But if you, even if you delay it, like sometimes it's just gonna drop, so you have to like, you know, be careful. But if you delay it too much, your boiling point's gonna drop as well. So that's like the drawback, right? So either go for, if you see it's gonna drop, right? Either go for 4-4 blood splatter. It does way less damage there. So I always go for this one because it's very consistent in my opinion. And it's not that hard not to drop it unless, you know, like me. Or, you know, 1-4, you do 4-4 boiling point and your combos with 4-4 boiling point as often as you can. Because 4-4 does the biggest amount of damage out of any of your strings. Or 4-8 for free, but you can't really use 4-8 for free in like extended combos like 4-4. So you always want to end it in 4-4 if you want to get the optimal damage. And boiling point, obviously. But sometimes ending in blood splitter is better because, yeah. For example, when like boiling point's gonna whiff, you're gonna get full combo punish for that, right? Because it's 36 recovery. So you just have to like have a keen eye and see if it will drop or not. If you see it's gonna drop, go for back forward 3 or a tentacle, whatever. It's the same. But back forward 3 is, it can't drop. It's too fast to drop. So yeah. That's like basically your chrono combos. You're trying to like, if you launch them, you're trying to extend it by a button into blood splatter, so back forward 3. If you want to go fully optimal, you go for standing 4, but this one is really tough to connect, so I wouldn't go for that myself. I did at the beginning, but I kind of stopped. I don't see the reason, just because of like 2%, like who cares? Better not to drop it than like, you know, getting full combo punished. So you just go for standing 1. And this is really way easier to connect than with a standing 4. You have to be really precise. You can use back forward 3 there if you see it's gonna drop, but yeah. And you can also like go for a recent from 2-2. Like you can do 2-2, 4-4, but I wouldn't say it's worth it at all. Unless you have like a KB from your grab and you want to get like the mind game, right? If you're gonna like do 55% damage or like 48 with, you know, with a shimmy like that. Also, when you're in the corner and you punish something, always go for 4-4 because that's the most damage you're gonna get. That's almost 40% for 2 bars, so always go for that. Unless you cannot, then, you know, go for something else. You know, sometimes from this range, you can't like stop them from jumping too much. So you gotta like get your converts like adjusted, right? Like you gotta see at what range they are, so you can like do this optimal convert for that. It's something that's very high level, or like just not high level, but it's just gonna come with time. You can't force it, and it's not really something you should focus on when you're learning the character. Like it's just gonna come with time. It's just something that's natural to you whenever you play a character for very long. You know, just getting converts there. That's just how it is. So for example, it's somebody with boiling point, right? And you go for a TP to go for a meaty, and they're jumping, so you have to like be ready for that. Like I said, just be prepared. It's probably the good word for that. Alright, so you can see that there is no need for a down 1 there because I hit them pretty early on the jump up, but if they're like very high, I would have to down 1 it, otherwise my boiling point would drop. And yeah, so it's like something specific like that. But yeah, it's not very important. It's just something that you know, it's gonna come with time. Just wanted to show it in the guide, like show it in the video, you know, that there is something like that. Very good to know. So yeah, just be ready to like do conversions like this when you play the character a lot, you know. Just gonna get used to that. It's become very natural. It's gonna become very, very natural to you. With any, you know, weird conversions that usually people don't do. You can always go for 2 and 2 immediately. It's gonna like, catch them every time. But since it's a high, it might be risky sometimes. You know. And 1-2 catching the second hit should catch them always. If you're close enough to this. And there's a mid, so it's a pretty good meaty, I would say. You have to be close for that. But back 3 is alright, but it's pretty easily jumpable. So if you delay it. Because sometimes delaying something on wake up is pretty smart, since they can, like, you know, there are like a billion wake up options in this game, especially like invincible wake up options, considering interactables, up freeze, you know, great blows. After your 1-4, usually go for boiling point, right? But they can break away from that. So what you do if you condition them, you do back forward 3 into back forward 4. So I would like almost always go for this unless you know they're gonna break, right? Sometimes you just know they're gonna break or have a feeling they're gonna break. So yeah, not much to talk about the armor breaker, just a mind game, right? You gotta condition them first that you're not gonna go for it. You're gonna make them scared of like losing 27%. But if it's like game point, you can do 2-1 into regular boiling point and unbreakable. 21%. So that's pretty good. You can also do like 2-1 into boiling point close for 22. You know, obviously forward for 3 unbreakable. She has pretty good unbreakable damage sometimes. Also, like a little tip for boiling point amplify, you can just hold it. You don't have to like spam R1. You can just hold it, right? But sometimes I just still do it because this game is not trustworthy, so I still just spam it sometimes. But yeah, usually I just hold it because it also amplifies it. Yes, you can also get an armor breaker from the 2-2. It is not easy though to get that. I don't even know if it's worth it or not, because you lose 2 bars of 30%. I mean, it's not bad, but you get like 20% for no bar. And they have no meter, so you gotta be careful. Here you can see my matchup chart for Skarlet and how I think the matchups are. I try to be as non-biased as I could be, but at the end of the day, everything in this matchup list is personal. I do think it's very accurate though, considering everything that's in here. I do think she wins against Shiva, Jax, Baraka, Terran, possibly, but he's broke because of his TP. And Shao Kahn as well, even though he's also kind of broke, low-key. Other than that, like, she has a lot of 5-5 matchups. Some of them could be a 4.5 to 5.5 in my opinion. But I do think everyone in this 5-5 segment is very accurate. I do think so, truly. And the 4.5 to 5.5 segment, I could see Noob being a 5-5 as well, like, to be honest, but personally I just feel like it's a 4.5 to 5.5. But like I said, that's just my personal opinion. And I put Cabal here just because it's Cabal. I could also see him being a 5.5 low-key, but I just don't see it with everything he has, all his options. I just think he wins the matchup slightly. Liu Kang, I could really see him being a 5-5 too, but the flying kick just helps him so much in the matchup. if he didn't have Flying Kick, I would even put him in 6-4, but because of Flying Kick, because it works similar to Sub-Zero Slide, and Sub-Zero Slide makes the matchup 3-7 in my opinion. So I put him at 5.5, I think it's a fair placement. Jack, he is a very interesting character. Because of her frame data and her mind games and everything, she has a lot of -2 strings and she has a 9 frame mid. So I get for Skarlet it's really bad. Like her best option is to just back off and backdash. Up close, she really is very scary for Skarlet because she doesn't really have many options, but she does suffer due to her 950 health though, however. And Skarlet does do a lot of punishes to do big damage, so it's also a thing to consider. I put Shang Tsung in 4.5 to 5.5 because of Hellsparks. Hellsparks punish Tentacle and Flawless Blood from mid-screen, and they punish Boiling Point also from mid-screen to full screen almost, wherever the range is, you know. Back in the days I thought it's a 4-6 matchup, but now I don't see it. I could even see it being a 5.5, I mean 5.5 to be honest, but personally I feel like it's a 5.5 in Shang's favor. Alright, I put Kung Lao in 4-6 because his down 3 is 7 frames and it is -5. So that means for Skarlet that she can't take a turn with a mid ever. So she has to backdash whenever she wants to take a turn back. That's not a poke. And his dive kick is also very strong. Like his dive kick allows him to play the matchup very unique, and also Buzzsaw makes the matchup very difficult in my opinion. But like I said, everything here is personal at the end of the day. I try to be as non-biased as I could, but that's not always possible. Alright. Then Setron. I put Setron here because her zoning options just counter Skarlet zoning so hard, especially Beam and Ground Pound. I mean Earthquake. Earthquake and Beam early are tough for Skarlet to deal with. And up close, it's also not easy for Skarlet, but she does out-damage her a lot. Like when she gets in and Skarlet can attack her and open her up, it can be tough for Setron as well. But if they play really lame, it's super hard for Skarlet, especially because she can just run away all game and punish every single blood bullet throw or tentacle with a jump beam, and I can't do much really. That's why I put it in 4-6. Alright, Fujin. I could see Fujin actually being either 5.5 or 5.5 as well. Like it's a funny pattern, right? I could see any character being a 5.5 or 5.5. That's why it's so tough to like finalize this matchup chart, because it could be like changed up a lot. The only thing is that wouldn't change ever is this matchup right here. It's Sub-Zero. Like if I could, I would put this motherfucking A2, I mean 2A, like no cap. This is not a good matchup. Alright, so let's talk about Fujin first before we go to sub. Fujin just controls neutral so good that I think Skarlet struggles against that, especially because she can't punish either drill or wind push. If she could punish one of those, it wouldn't be an issue, but she just cannot. So she has to struggle a lot in the matchup because of that. Other than that, she has some really unique options and she doesn't do bad at all. Other than she can't punish wind push, like I said. Or a needle, that is. So let us talk about Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero fucks her up
they ask you how you are, you
every
just have
way.
to say that you're fine. When you're not
Every
really
way
fine,
imaginable,
you
just fucks her up. The biggest reason is probably Slide. The other reason is a very good Dumb 4. And the third reason is a low starter. So the parry mind games become pretty insignificant if you ask me. Also, his damage is crazy, his neutral presence is crazy. You can punish every option that I have from forward 2 with slide. Ninja Killer made a video about it, and almost no sub plays the matchup right, like to the full potential. I haven't fought a sub yet, and I fought almost every good sub, especially in Europe. I fought all the best Sub-Zeros, and they play the matchup well, but not to its full potential of how bad it can be for Skarlet. So yeah, this is basically my matchup chart. Let me know what you think of it. It's like nothing special. Like I said, it could be changed up, especially 4.5 and 5.5, and 4.6 could be changed up a little bit. I could see that being true as well. Like, I could even see that being true. Like, low-key, I could see that being true. This could be a pretty good chart, but I'm gonna put them back in here because that's how I truly feel. And I wouldn't change that. Wait. Alright, so yeah, this is my final matchup chart. Okay, so in summary, the core of Skarlet's gameplay is using her frame data and her range and spacing together combined as a weapon. Because a lot of her strings are, for example, -1. Like 1 to 4 is -1 and leaves you at an advantageous spacing for Skarlet. After 1 to 4, you can either down 3, you can either backdash into with punishing them, you can approach them with a fast button, a fast high, like standing 4 or 1 to 4 for example, and if they approach you and press the slower button, they will get caught, and that won me a lot of sets. After forward for 3, you're -1 as well, but you're in their face, so you can't backdash or you cannot use any spacing because there is none, right? But since you're -1, you can either block or you can press down 1, since if they go for a high, if they go for a button that's 8 frames or slower, you will win or trade at max. So you don't really risk anything by pressing down 1. I didn't mention many best buttons because literally every button she has is very good besides standing 3. We do not talk about standing 3. That button does not exist in my perception. Simply as an input error, as a meme. Who should play Skarlet? If you like her, if you like her design, if you like her aesthetics, if you like her buttons, go play her. She is a very good character. People are sleeping on her. She is very strong. People that play her know that, but people that don't play her don't really know that she is a strong character. So yeah, she's a mixture between rushdown, good buttons, very solid buttons, great full screen options, one of the best options in the game, one of the best projectors in the game, wins almost every trade, especially Red Drain. They almost never lose a trade. And Boiling Point is just an amazing move. I love this move so much. Just 18% unbreakable. Unfortunately, it can be punished by certain characters, even from full screen, like Garrus. So you gotta be careful about it. Yeah, her gameplay, like I said at the beginning, is basically trying to get them in the corner as quickly as you can, while, you know, chipping away at their health, like just outspacing them, out-neutraling them. Eventually, you know, when you play smart, when you wanna play smart, if you have the lead, you just wanna get away. If they're a character that can beat you up close, like Jackie, Kumilaru, for example, you don't wanna be in their face, even if you have the lead, right? You just wanna like chip them out, zone them out, like kill them that way. And yeah, always be careful about the back two. It's always a threat, but don't overuse the back two. It is very punishable. It is reactable sometimes, most of the time. Can be used after like certain stuff there, like after down 3 it is guaranteed. After down 4 it is guaranteed. So yeah, there are like a lot of scenarios for that move, like standing 1 backdash, back 2. Back 2 is a very good shimmy as well, like you can dash up back 2 and where nobody's gonna block that, trust me. If somebody blocks a dash up back 2, they're literally smoking crack. Or they're just patient and they're just playing the game correctly, which is respectable. She's a spacing oriented character that relies on zoning. Her great buttons, her decent, very decent movement, probably very good movement actually. I don't wanna like put it down. It's very, very good. And her also pretty good frame data on certain moves. The only thing she really lacks is a good mid, a safe mid. That's like the thing that hurts her a lot. It's like a safe mid, because even back 3 for 2, it can be ducked for max range. So yeah, have fun with the character. Go out, enjoy. Spam some back 2s for me, because this button is true love. It is true fucking love. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something new that you didn't know before. Appreciate you all for tuning in, for watching, and I'll see you in the present. Take care.
Forgotten.
Let's ride.